Apparently, Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch have a crime to solve together. You know, this expanded universe stuff is getting a little out of hand.
Well, how far do you think someone could run barefoot out here?
Oh, I don't know. How do you gauge someone's will to live, especially in these conditions? But I knew that girl. She's a fighter. So no matter how far you think she ran, I can guarantee you she ran further.
Wind River is a crime thriller based on actual events that happened in the Native American reservation Wind River. Stars Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen among those trying to solve the mystery here. And it's written and directed by Taylor Sheridan. Now, you may know he wrote both Sicario and Hell or High Water. That's a nice resume, but it's the first time he's directed something of this weight. Can he pull off direction as well as the writing? There's 5 things you might want to know about Wind River. Yeah, I think Mr. Sheridan acquits himself quite nicely as a director here. Now, we know he can write. Let's talk about his skill right off the bat as the first thing to love about this movie. His writing's phenomenal. You saw it in Sicario, you saw it in Hell or High Water, and it's here too. These characters are so well written. The dialogue just snaps, pulls you where you need to be in the story. And I think he's showing his skill as a director here in kind of bringing that story where it needs to be. Now, I will say, I think he's a better writer than a director. And I guess I should say, I know he actually directed another movie even before, Hell or High Water and Sicario. But for the most part, this is kind of his big first step on stage as a director. And I think he does okay. He definitely knows how to tell a good story. And this is a good story. He keeps it very straightforward. He helps us know the characters right off the bat so that we're invested in who they are, and also brings the story along at a pace that keeps us invested all the way to the end. This is one of those movies that I don't think you'll ever get bored in, even though there's not a lot of bells and whistles to really keep your attention. One of the other things I loved about this movie, and you'll hear me talk about this quite a bit, I love it when the environment becomes a character of its own, because it's something else that brings you along in the story. I loved how gorgeous the snow was, the mountains were, this expanse, and also how that informed the character development and the choices they made and what they were doing. It felt very authentic and real. And not just the snow, by the way, also this Native American reservation. This idea of what reservation life is like, what it's trying to say about this group of people, this tribe of people, and what they're going through modern day based on the consequences of things that happened a long time ago. All of that environment works to put the story in such an authentic place that I think you just buy in completely. And I will also say as a Green, I think he gets great performances out of specifically Jeremy Renner. I know Renner's been in a lot of great stuff, but I have to go back to really The Hurt Locker to go back to something where I was like, that's a captivating performance for me. Yes, he was great in Arrival. Yes, he's been great in other things, but I loved him here. He's playing a different character. He's really doing some character work here, which I really enjoyed. And Elizabeth Olsen is good too. And in fact, all the periphery performances, I don't know that I could single out a bad performance in this entire movie. I think you have to give the director a lot of credit for that. So we come to the turn. I've told you the things I really, really loved. Let's talk about the things I think could go either way. And I actually didn't mind them that much, but I think it's important because I think where you land on these things will probably determine whether or not you really enjoy this movie. First of all, the message is really conflicting for me. It's a little bit too revengey for me, if that makes sense. There's a revenge element to it, and I don't want to give anything away. That just felt a little off for the overall message of the movie, which has to do with how important it is to treat these tribal situations with the honor and respect of bringing them into the overall law of our country, and at the same time respecting their own law and what they do. It's a tricky situation, and I think the movie scratches the surface on that, but it kind of wants to have it both ways. There's a moral conundrum here, right? Because where else is there justice if there's not revenge? Because the tribal police are technically in charge and they can't really have the numbers, according to this movie, to do their job, especially in this situation. Where is the justice? And I think that's what this movie, at the end of it, is really about. But there's a tug and pull there that I wasn't completely comfortable for, and so I wanted to bring that to light a little bit. And this last one could go either way. This one didn't bother me as much as it might bother some, but this is a slog. This is a really dark and difficult movie to get through from the beginning to the end. It never lets up. There's not a lot of comic relief here. There aren't many light moments, if any, that happen here, at least that are light enough to kind of bring us out of the darkness of what's happening here. And that can be a little rough for a lot of people. Here's the good news. The characters are so well drawn and you're so with them that I think you still manage to maintain the energy of the plot, even though there's not a lot of lightness to it. So it's a slog, but it's a purposeful slog. I think it's meant to be oppressive in that way on purpose to really tell us something. And for me, I think that's okay, but for you, it might bother you a little bit. Overall, I felt like Wind River was another really great outcome for Taylor Sheridan. I think he does great here with the writing for sure, and even with the directing, enough so that I brought it up to a B+. Thanks for checking out this Your Movie Friend review. We'll get to the best ever challenge here in a bit. Before we do, though, let's connect further. Hit me up on Twitter. It's Aaron Dicer, AARONDICER. Love to chat there. YouTube's a great place to subscribe. I'd appreciate a sub here and, hang out in the comments, all that fun stuff here at YouTube. Also do the podcast. If you like podcasts, check out SiftPop, SiftPop, SiftPop. It's about an hour-long weekly podcast. We review whatever movie's out that week, maybe talk other fun pop culture stuff, but we have a good time. And finally, thank you so much for supporting this channel at Patreon, patreon.com/yourmoviefriend. And thanks to those who have just thrown $3 every month my way. It means the world to me, keeps me doing this thing, keeps me invested. Thank you for doing that. All right, on to the best ever challenge, where you name the best movie ever in a particular category. Also try to identify my choice. What is the best movie ever that has either the word wind or the word river in it? You can pick either one. I'm going to have to go with the one that stars the most nominated actress for Oscars of all time, and also a favorite breakfast food of many. Take a guess at mine in the comments. First person to get it right does get a point. Leave your choice there as well. And as always, here's a few extra seconds to hit subscribe. Just click my face.